You mean like aliens coming down doing that to humans?
No, I'm telling you that there is something here. There's a fact. There's something. They're a craft. They're here. They're not ours. They're here. So the question is, what is that about? And I'm just looking at what we do with what you're describing with technology.
Well,
and
I think it's much more likely that the same way we observe chimps and we observe that they are now in the Stone Age, that they're observing us.
4 expert eyewitnesses observing this phenomenon for a sustained period of time, and their what they witnessed, their testimony, is confirmed by radar and by video. And we have some of the video that you can watch, and 60 Minutes played some of that video too. So that's about as persuasive as evidence could possibly be.
Aliens. Many argue that they exist, or that we must at least entertain the possibility that they exist.
And there are probably trillions and trillions of habitable planets in the universe, which means there should be lots of opportunity for life to develop and exist, right?
As Christians, what should be our view of extraterrestrial, intelligent aliens? Matt Walsh is a Roman Catholic podcast host at the Daily Wire. I generally like a lot of what Walsh says about cultural issues, and I like his fearlessness in standing up to the cancel culture mob. At the same time, I disagree with Walsh on several significant issues.
And then Matt Walsh and I are Catholics. Never have we had an intra-faith battle, but we get this question all the time. People ask, who's the better Catholic at the Daily Wire?
Walsh is very open to the idea of the existence of aliens with extremely advanced technological capabilities. Walsh cites video footage that has been released, as well as testimony from military personnel, as strong support for his position.
So what you're telling me is that UFOs, unidentified flying objects, are real.
Bill, I think we're beyond that already. The government has already stated for the record that they're real. I'm not telling you that. The United States government is telling you that.
Walsh claims he is the victim of anti-UFO bigotry in the workplace, tweeting, "We need to talk about anti-UFO bigotry in the workplace." Walsh here is responding to the tweets from 2 of his co-workers at the Daily Wire. Jeremy Boring, co-founder of the Daily Wire, tweeted, "People get angry when I say there is a statistically 0% chance the UAP being observed by our military are extraterrestrial in origin, but them's the facts. You don't know anything about it," they cry. Not true. I know one thing, it ain't aliens. And Michael Knowles, another podcast host at the Daily Wire, tweeted, "Unpopular opinion, I don't see any reason whatsoever to believe that life exists anywhere else in the universe." Voddie Baucham is a relatively well-known Christian teacher. He believes the book of Genesis in the Bible is clear concerning when and how the universe was created.
My favorite thing to do when I'm on non-Christian college campuses, Genesis. I love it. Why? Because that's one of the traps that everybody wants to set. Are you a real intellectual or are you one of those sort of, narrow-minded Bible people? Which is it? I don't even wait long for them to figure it out. Because some of y'all, I'll say something like, some of y'all are sitting out there right now and I'm opening to the book of Genesis and we're having this conversation, having this discussion. There's a series of lectures. And right now, all you're wondering is this: am I a real intellectual or am I one of these narrow-minded hicks who happens to have some credentials? You're sitting there going, is this one of those guys who believes that God created the world in 7 days? And my answer to you is absolutely not. He did it in 6. And I think if you don't believe that, you're an idiot. You're not a real intellectual. Now they're going, it's for real? Did he just, he's not playing, y'all.
In contrast, Walsh believes that science is clear that the universe is billions of years old, which suggests that people like Baucham must be misinterpreting the book of Genesis.
What they're starting with Genesis and their interpretation of it, and then trying to make the science fit. And that's not how you do science. That's not real science. Now, I fully admit that I'm neither a cosmologist or a geologist, so I must decide whether I will believe the near unanimous consensus in those fields, or if I will come to the conclusion that they're all a bunch of godless liars and lunatics because certain Christians insist that the word day in Genesis can only mean 24 hours and nothing else. I must ask myself, what's more likely? That the entire fields of cosmology, astronomy, and geology are wrong, illegitimate, and falsified? Or that young Earth creationists are simply misinterpreting the text? What's the more plausible explanation? That modern science is completely wrong? Or that young Earth creationists are misinterpreting it?
However, Baucham disagrees that science is as clear as Walsh claims it is.
You know, my number one pet peeve when it comes to the culture war and origins is that people will allow evolutionists to talk about evolution like it's fact, like it's absolutely proven, and be intimidated when it comes to talking about creationism as though there's absolutely no fact or no science on our side. And nothing could be further from the truth. The fact of the matter is there's actually more scientific evidence on our side than there is on theirs. And there's more presupposition on their side than there is on ours. And so we'll take, for example, two guys who disagree with one another over the age of the Earth. One says 3 billion, another says 10 billion. And we'll say they're both intelligent. There's 7 billion years between them. I say 6,000. There's less than 3 billion between me and the guy who says 3 billion. So how come 7 billion between them is allowed, but 3 billion on my part is not allowed? Because after all, you're just talking about big, giant numbers. And it's all in order to intimidate people and to cover your tracks when you don't have scientific evidence. So we need to take courage, speak the truth, don't back down.
Now let's consider several things related to the existence of extraterrestrial intelligent aliens. First, do we believe that life originated from non-life?
The entire world is now an ocean. Volcano alert. That's land. There's life in the ocean. What? Something's alive in the ocean. Oh, cool, like a plant or an animal? No, a microscopic speck. It lives at the bottom of the ocean and eats chemical soup, which is being served hot and fresh, made from gnarly space ingredients left over from when it was raining rocks or whatever.
As you know, life came from non-life. That ought to be enough right there to make any rational person snicker. Excuse me? Life came from non-life? In fact, I thought it was one of the established principles of biology that spontaneous generation is not true.
Or that life originated from God creating life. Non-Christians who believe aliens exist believe that if life on Earth originated from non-life, then it must be possible that life could originate from non-life on other planets too. However, the big problem with this theory is that there is simply currently no evidence that life can originate from non-life. If we believe that life on Earth originated from God's creating power, then the existence of aliens on other planets would also need to originate from God's creating power. Second, the Bible tells us why God created life and humans on Earth. God created humans to be a part of His redemptive story, the story of Jesus Christ becoming a man to save sinners from their sin. If intelligent aliens exist on other planets, we would have to ask, for what purpose did God create those aliens? The Bible doesn't at all mention aliens or God creating any other intelligent life forms. And third, we would argue that knowledge and human intelligence are unique miracles that originate from God. That humans were created in the image of God means that they are rational creatures, which is completely different from every animal. Human rationality is what makes sin possible, and human sin is what makes salvation necessary. If intelligent aliens exist, we would have to ask, are these aliens also sinful? Do they also need a savior? If so, how would they be saved? If the argument is that maybe God created sinless aliens who don't require salvation, then other questions arise, such as, why doesn't the Bible mention God creating these kinds of sinless, intelligent aliens? What would be the purpose of God creating sinless, intelligent aliens? Our position is that because both the existence of life and the existence of knowledge require God's creative power, and because the biblical worldview is the only worldview that can legitimately answer all of life's foundational questions concerning epistemology, metaphysics, and ethics, and because the Bible explains why God created humans, but does not mention God creating any other kind of intelligent life forms, the conclusion is that it seems clear that humans are the only intelligent beings in the universe. Extraterrestrial, intelligent aliens do not exist.